Oh, okay, gentlemen, ladies. I want to welcome everybody. Make sure, turn your phone on vibrate for me. Warren, vibrate. I know how you are.
Thank you, son. I forgot.
Put your vibrating on. John, and I want to welcome everybody too, but Johnny, would you stay present, sir?
Father, we come before you as humble, Lord, as sincere as we know how. We ask you, God, that you would bless our nation, bless Israel, bless Jerusalem. God, we pray, Lord, that you bless Cedar Bluff. We thank you for what you have done. You instruct us in your word, Lord, to ask for wisdom, knowledge, understanding. And God, we pray, Lord, that you would give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that we could say something, do something, create something that would help our community and our people. Father, we praise you. In Jesus' sweet holy name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance, stand please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good, Johnny? You good? If you need breaking time, let me know, okay?
Okay.
Johnny got some good reports today.
Could I say this before you
Yeah.
continue? I appreciate everybody's prayer, and they give us good report. We've been living under the thought that we might lose our leg, and they've been doing tests on it. And today they said that would be negative, that everything looked good. And so they're changing our medicine and stuff to do something that will help us start healing instead of having to do things to do tests on a virus that might have been in our leg. So it looks real good, and I thank y'all. I thank the mayor for being patient with me, for missing a couple of times. And maybe after tonight, you'll have to put up with me being John Smith. Thank you.
I called to check on him. I said, "Is everything going good?" And I said, he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, you know, I hate that, you know, you might lose your leg." He said, "Yeah, me too. I'm kind of attached to it." I said, "Well, I'll carry you in that next one I have to." But thank God, praise God, that's good. Really, that's
Thank
great.
you. Real good. It made me feel better.
Yeah, me too. Thank all the visitors, of course, and also I need approval of I need approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion? I'll make a motion. Second. Aye. Okay. Approval of the previous minutes. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor, aye? Aye. No? Nice. Okay, next is swearing.
Well, before we do that, can we go ahead and approve the pay bills? I forgot. I'm sorry. Kenny,
Our wives pay our bills. Most time we don't. We forget. That's okay. Harmony normally reminds us we forgot. Yeah, and do I have approval to pay the bills? Can I get that? I'll move that.
We were going to take that up with the town manager's report, but you could do it now.
Yeah, that's fine. You want to do it?
Yeah, do it now.
Okay, go ahead.
I make a motion to pay the bills.
Second. All in favor? No? All in favor. Good. Is that good, John?
Yeah.
You need a sign, John?
Nope.
Okay. Swearing in of Councilman Kenny Shepherd. John, if you want to do that?
Yeah. Kenny, you want to make it down front? Jennifer, you take a picture with your beautiful phone, and we can email, text it to Warren Hinkle, and she can put it in the paper for Kenny. I'll move this up. Raise your right hand, Kenny. Say aye, Kenny M. Shepherd.
I, Kenny M. Shepherd,
Have been elected as council member for the town of Cedar Bluff,
have been elected council member of the town of Cedar Bluff,
Virginia,
Virginia,
for the term beginning January 1st, 2019.
for the term beginning January 1st, 2019.
Do solemnly swear and affirm that I will support
Do solemnly affirm and support
the Constitution of the United
the
States,
Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and the Code of the town of Cedar Bluff,
and the Code of the town of Cedar Bluff,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially discharge
and impartially discharge
all the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as a council member to the best
as a council member to the best
of my ability, so help me God.
of my ability, so help me God.
Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause for Mr. Shepherd.
What date do you have for that beginning?
I did, well, I dated it for today, December 10th, but it should have actually been November the 5th.
Well, it's
Or
just
November.
in the oath, you asked me for something that begins January 1 of 20.
I know, I seen that when I was reading, I'm sorry, do I need to redo it?
And I just want to make sure we got it right on the paper.
I did do it as January 1.
Well, it was, where it was,
Technically, he takes office whether he swears
Immediately.
to or not.
right.
If he never showed up until January 1st, he's automatically, he doesn't have to be sworn in, it's just a formality.
Yeah.
We like to bring these guys up and swear them.
And show them before me this.
They can go back.
More with this. Then, got some more. Now, next, we're going to make a special presentation for Jim's and Linda.
Good.
I got, the next special presentation is for Jim, Linda, and Sharon Lowe. I'll come over there to you all so you don't have to stand, maybe you can get a picture of your Jim if you want. If you want to, this is Linda, if you want to do it, I'll read it, but you can. This one's Jim. They all say the same thing. But they're just addressed, these are signed by the governor, Ralph Northam. Of course, I'm gonna read Miss Lowe's. Miss Singleton and Mr. Singleton, Jim and Linda says the same thing. Dear Miss Lowe, on behalf of the Commonwealth of Virginia, I am pleased to congratulate you on yet another successful Cedar Bluff Heritage Festival celebration. Your continued support of this event has allowed the residents of the town of Cedar Bluff the opportunity to come together and celebrate the town's rich and storied history. I had a chance to hear a little bit about the hard work and dedication that goes into setting up this event, and I commend you for your many years of service. Many of your friends and colleagues attest that without you, this event, along with many others, would be impossible to put together. I am always inspired by leaders across the Commonwealth of Virginia who use their passion and talents to bring their communities together. And your efforts are no exception. Your commitment to the town of Cedar Bluff and its residents is truly admirable. And I thank you for your work. Again, congratulations on another successful Cedar Bluff Heritage Festival. I know that you will continue to find ways to serve your community in a meaningful way. It is truly an honor to serve as your governor, Ralph S. Northam. Thank you all. I know Linda and Sharon, especially Linda, because Linda kept y'all going.
Amen.
This is yours, Sharon,
Thank you.
and we thank you all so much for your hard work and dedication to the town. We just love you all as people, as citizens. I was telling Jim one day, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get Chuck Miller to cut that tree down, and he's like, well, that tree's over there hanging down a little bit. Like, yeah, it is. And well, I was leaving for lunchtime. He's over with a chainsaw cutting it down. So, I mean, you know, I didn't even have to get Chuck Miller to do it. So this is what kind of people they are. Just great, hard-working people. And love the Tennessee blood. We love you all.
We had a good run, we appreciate it, and the people that's taking that over will do a great job,
Brad, Natasha will do good.
and we're gonna support it. We had the support, I think, of 99% of the people. That's okay. The other 1%, we love you too, and
Right.
we will support them. This is a community,
Amen.
and we appreciate it.
And the only thing we ask is that you show them the support you showed us.
Absolutely.
You know, because they'll do a great job.
They
and
will.
We're not gonna leave them hang out in the rain. We're gonna
Right.
guide them a little bit, and help them along. So you're not totally rid of us just
Right,
yet.
right,
Give us one festival maybe, and then you'll be rid of us.
Yeah.
But please show the support and the love to them that you
Right.
showed us.
Absolutely.
Because it
It's a
takes
partnership.
a
really is.
village.
Right, it does.
And it would not been impossible. This is a very unique town.
It is.
It would not have been possible without the town, the council, the citizens,
Right.
everybody jumped in, and they did a great job. And Johnny, I know what, kind of how you feel about that levy. I've lost some stuff over the years. I guess what I miss the most is my mind. The rest of it, you'll be fine.
Thank you all. Oh, my bad.
Come on.
No, I lost one. Jim, get up
You
there.
there?
I get in.
You need me?
Get these girls.
You ever squeeze up to her, Kenny?
Stand up.
Yeah, you heard that, didn't you, Jim? That's right.
Jump back here.
Jerry's not here, do I?
All right. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Gotcha.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
I've been here,
Thank you. Appreciate all your.
I've been here 70 years, and I know no one that's done more than these three people have received that.
Love the community. Love it.
Oh, there's a lot of people did more than us. They passed on, and we're pretty close.
Or moved out of the country.
But they have, they've been a lot of good people here.
A lot of good people, I know none done more.
Does anybody got John's agenda here?
No, there's actually one in the front of
While he's looking, I do want to thank y'all for everything. And just remember, say a little prayer for Miss Singleton. I was, you know, it's terrible when you get sick, but I always try to tell everybody it's like a baby. You know, if everybody could go from A to Z and go to A and skip all the middle and go to Z, everybody would have kids. That's the best part. When Karen had her kid, we had so much joy. So I know God's healed you. It's just you have to go through certain things to get to that point. So the healing's done. It's just a little bit of aggravation in between. It's like John. And then we aggravate each other with best buds, you know? It's going to aggravate you, but I feel good about it.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
Say a little prayer for her tonight, everybody. She deserves it. We will. Okay, next is revision to the town ordinance. It's the council meeting time.
We've discussed this, and I think we're going to maybe possibly, I think the consensus among the councils to move it down to 6:30. Does that fit everyone's schedule good? Instead of 7:30, move it down to 6:30? Terry? Are you okay with any? Okay. Kenny?
Do I have a motion, or how we going to, do we need to lighten this up, or?
Well,
Hey, Jim, I was going to ask you something else real quick. instead of stating our meetings the first or the second Tuesday after the first Monday, do you think maybe we could just change that to the second Tuesday? I mean, of every month, while we do this time change?
Well, there was a reason why we did it that way,
Yeah,
is because sometimes when you had an effective date for something, it was going to fall before the next meeting would come, that you had to have behind you already,
right,
you know?
yeah,
So where you say the second Tuesday could wind up being like the 8th of the month, you know?
right,
And it's not far enough into the month for you to have your 30 days or your 60 days or whatever it is that you needed to have for different things that you were working on. So, I mean, that was why we put it the way we did.
yeah.
So some nights start on Tuesday.
Yeah, it was a problem where sometimes, I can remember you'd have something where maybe there was like 60 days that we had to have from some action that the council took until something else.
And basically it was what,
And yeah,
85?
58 days later, your meeting falls because, you know, it was on the second Tuesday.
That was just a thought, you know, we can leave that the way it is,
Well, it's just, you know,
yeah.
you're asking me because I'm old enough to remember when they did it, so
Right.
Took me forever to figure that out.
that was the reason behind it.
Have we, I think the council can come out anytime. Have we done any research to find out how that's gonna affect the public?
I mean, some of the other town, I mean, I'm not gonna say town meeting, but what time's your meeting, Tom? What time y'all start?
We meet at 4:30.
Okay.
4 o'clock, we meet at 4.
I mean, I don't see it being a problem. I mean, actually, I would think some of the older people like to, you know, I'm telling you, this man drives to Akron, I'm pretty sure. But our last meeting was in here at 10:35. He was wore out. I was worried about him falling asleep. So I don't see a problem with it, but you're the council.
Hard to find a place to eat after the meeting when it's done.
Yeah. And John said he set a record like 11:30, so I don't know.
I just wondered.
Do we have to do anything special with what they're asking? I mean, we have to do anything special for you have to write anything, or can we go ahead and adopt this?
Well, I think that it was set by ordinance, it's not, so you'd actually have to have an ordinance prepared, or a revised ordinance prepared.
You can do that, right?
But if you want to put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay. So, John?
Yeah,
It wasn't really any.
Y'all have any discussion, you can go ahead and discuss it.
What time will the next meeting be?
6:30.
The next
Well,
one?
the next meeting will be
It's
It's gonna
7:30.
be 7:30.
Yeah, the
That's
next
what
one.
I mean. Okay, so the next,
Everybody good on that? Y'all okay with tabling that?
yeah.
Okay, the town of Cedar Bluff Second Amendment Sanctuary Resolution. I'd like for Tom, if you would come up first, Tom. Give everybody kind of a rundown, like, I was at the meeting the other night, I think John was there, Kenny was there. It was really interesting.
Well, Mr. Mayor, Councilman, Town Manager, I wanted to come, I asked Mr. Absher if it was okay if I could come. I wanted to update the council and the town on the action that the Tazewell County Board of Supervisors did last week and give you some justifications for why we did so and the implications for it. We think that it was an important evening. We feel like that we were cautious and thoughtful in addressing what we saw, we feel. And there are 5 of us. There's 2 Republicans and 3 Democrats. And quite honestly, on the board, it doesn't really matter. We all work together pretty closely. But all of us have been concerned since the election in November with the change in the General Assembly. And Charlie Stacy, who's a friend of mine, is on the board, will tell you that the change in political parties is not the first time it's happened, hasn't happened in 4 years, but it's significant. But it's becoming more significant because the population of Virginia has changed. And we're seeing political dynamics change. And so
the Democrats and Republicans of Southwest Virginia have an awful lot in common with one another, but neither of us seem to have a lot in common with some of the new political thoughts that are coming out of Northern Virginia. And so, at the request of Delegate Moorfield, who met with a few of us after the election, his concern was, and it proved to be correct, was that the legislative proposals that the governor had suggested in July concerning your right to bear arms, gun restrictions, gun regulations, that although it was unlikely at best to get much consideration with the Republicans controlling both parties, or both houses, after November it changed. And in the words of Delegate Moorfield, the Democrats have told him that in 4 hours they're going to change 40 years. So they're quite serious about this legislation. Now, there has been a statement from the governor's office that came out today, was it today or yesterday, talking about grandfathering in some of the clauses, and we're still concerned about the age restrictions. Irregardless of, there is a manifest concern about the legislation from the Board of Supervisors about the implications it could have on our citizens and their right to bear arms. Whether the details of it prove to be exactly as we think they may be now, or the way they're being proposed, it may change. But the reality is the Second Amendment is still the Second Amendment. And so we felt comfortable as a board coming together with, and we had two proposals, two resolutions that we passed unanimously. Both of them with the understanding that just as Councilman Shepherd raised his hand and committed to all of us and to God, that he would uphold the Constitution of the United States, and he would uphold the state constitution, and he would uphold the town charter. In that order, by the way. Where is government set up? Supremacy clause gives the federal laws will be supreme, unless they're specifically expressly granted to the states. So the Second Amendment, which is now being applied as an individual right, we feel like that's something to be concerned about with the governor's proposals. But as a subdivision, a political subdivision of the state of Virginia, there are certain powers that we have and certain responsibilities that we have, but there are certain things that we can't do. We don't create laws in Tazewell County. Laws are created by the General Assembly. But we do take an oath to uphold the Constitution, and we do take an oath to uphold the Virginia State Constitution. And so we take those responsibilities serious. So when we are concerned, and we don't have any action yet, but when we are concerned that it's possible that the Virginia General Assembly could infringe upon our constitutional rights to bear arms, the county has a moral, ethical, constitutional responsibility to express itself, primarily because of the Virginia Article 1, Section 13, which we are a political subdivision of Virginia, so the Virginia Constitution is our source of power. It's where we come, is what we look to. It states expressly that the right to bear arms should not be infringed because it's the responsibility of the states to maintain a militia. That power falls ultimately to a county. Now, if we look at historically what a militia is, and I had Mr. Collins actually pull up for me, there are, according to the state of Virginia, Section 44-1, there are 3 classifications of militias. There is the National Guard, the Virginia Defense Force, and then there is an unorganized militia. Section 44-4 specifically notes that the unorganized militia are virtually all able-bodied residents of the Commonwealth of Virginia and Tazewell County. So that unorganized militia, lest we forget, that's the ones who started fighting King George. That's the ones who are set up, by the way, the Second Amendment, and this article is set up so that the people can protect themselves from what? From the government, from tyranny. So, the Board of Supervisors passed a resolution. The first resolution we passed, and I think I've sent copies of it, and you have copies of it, to Mr. Absher, in essence, says that Tazewell County is going to invoke its constitutional responsibility and obligation to support and maintain its right to have a well-armed citizenry, and we are acting on it by investing money into safe firearm training in our school system, which would be folks under 18, which seems to be a problem for the governor. We're going to invest in the junior ROTC program. We're going to invest in the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts of America. So we're investing in our community because from our perception, if it's our responsibility to maintain a militia, and that organized militia comes from the people. The people have to have arms in order to be able to rise to the call when we say we need you.
That's right.
The Minutemen came up in a minute, right? They had the arms there. That's why it's the first thing King George did was take away the arms, take away the ammunition. So we feel like the setting up the militia resolution was an important first step. What it actually also did was, by doing so, should the Virginia General Assembly try to restrict their citizens in any way whatsoever in maintaining what is currently a legal firearm, then we will sue on the grounds, and we feel like we have standing, that the state is preventing us from fulfilling our constitutional responsibility. So if the county has a constitutional responsibility to be able to call a militia if needed, then the General Assembly can't tell us that you're going to take the guns away from our citizens. Furthermore, we added in the resolution that we, the board, will not fund any administrative office or extension of the county if they try to take firearms that we deem as unconstitutional, which provides some strength to our Commonwealth Attorney and our Sheriff, both of which spoke in favor of both bills, both resolutions. The second resolution is a resolution for what's called the Second Amendment Sanctuary Resolution. There are 41 counties, maybe more now. Do you know how many more now, Warren? There's 41, I think, as of yesterday. We've got the town of Bluefield, the town of Bristol, I know, are two local towns that have also passed it. And what the Second Amendment Sanctuary Resolution does, and you have a copy of it, what it does, in essence, is it states that as a municipal body, and you've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution, and you've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution of the Bill of Rights of the state of Virginia, that in your jurisdiction, that you will not fund any unconstitutional acts that you deem so by the General Assembly. So the bill, both of our resolutions passed unanimously. We have gotten a great deal of attention from our militia resolution because I think it's thoughtful. The Second Amendment Sanctuary Resolution, the reality is it is a great deal of symbolism, but so is the flag. And a symbol is an awful important thing. So when the citizens of Virginia who share our common values, citizens of Virginia who believe and appreciate the importance of the Constitution, and the citizens of Virginia who recognize that tyranny is always just one vote away, they applaud the efforts of the counties and the towns that have adopted this Second Amendment Sanctuary Resolution. And we stand in solidarity with one another, and I think that's why the governor is responding as he has been to this public outcry of support. And so I come to update you on what we did and answer any questions. And quite honestly, I would also like to ask for you to consider doing the same.
Thank you, Tom. And you know, me and Kenny was there, Chief Brown, we was all there. It was, you know, it was championed by Mike Himes, Charlie Stacy, of course, he's a Democrat as well. He and the sheriff, but you know, Charlie Stacy actually helped write some of it, didn't he, Tom?
He said we had 3 lawyers guiding us, so it was a long meeting.
Right.
Charlie Stacy was one of them, yes.
Yeah.
And we had help from Eric Wetzel and other lawyers who've helped us
Right.
with it.
Right.
But,
Yeah, it was really good to see though. I mean, they was packed in there like sardines, and it was such a good bipartisan support. And everyone there was, you know, you could tell they was voters. Could you not, Tom? I mean, it was such an outcry for that. It really was.
It was packed.
But it was bipartisan all the way. I mean, it was, you know, Mike, Maggie, Travis, yourself. I mean, all the way. I mean, it was a great atmosphere.
Well, and it seems like this has been a very quick movement, but it's not been quite so quick. We have been working on it literally right after the election.
Right.
Delegate Moorfield has been kind of calling Travis and I on a pretty regular basis, saying, and I'm telling you, like I told the folks there that night, it ain't over.
Right.
We still are going to have there's a learning process here, and it's no longer becoming about partisanship as much as it's becoming about East and West,
That's right.
and or rural or urban.
Right.
So the Shenandoah Valley and Southwest Virginia, South Side, we have a lot in common with one another. We appreciate what it's like to have citizens who, when they call 911, it takes 45 minutes to get a deputy there.
Right.
Well, a firearm comes in handy.
That's
We
right.
had someone there complaining about a bear. All right. But it's more than just governing. There comes a certain point. I think Eric Young, our county administrator, called this the John Hancock moment.
Yeah.
There comes a moment when all this change is coming down from Richmond, from Northern Virginia, that Virginia, the real Virginia,
That's right.
the real Virginians stand up and say, no, you're going too far. We have a right, and we're going to stand up for it. And that's what the county has done, and that's what I'm hoping you'll do as well.
Okay, before you sit down, is there any questions you guys would have, Tom? John,
No question.
anything, guys?
I'm for
Well,
it.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Yeah, we put it in each agenda pack.
How do y'all want to handle this?
I think we need to pass it. But I mean,
I make a motion that we mirror the county Second Amendment sanctuary restriction.
A second?
Who seconded?
Terry.
Thank you.
Aye.
Discussion?
That's what I asked, they started.
Oh.
I just see
I'm
what's in
sorry.
this. I'm sorry, it's okay. That's what I was waiting on. I asked John.
Anything from the town attorney about it?
I mean, we had,
It's the council voting on that, it's y'all's time, whenever y'all have.
I do have a comment that Tom did a fine explanation of what this is about. I've been reading about it, but didn't really understand all of it. I think he did a fine example. Laid it all out there for us, and we appreciate you doing that. Because this is something that we need to really think about before we just vote on it, because you're for it. The Board of Supervisors are for it. I, until tonight, didn't understand completely what it was all about, but I am for it now.
Go ahead.
As the town attorney, I guess my interpretation of what's been written there is what it is that I have to speak to. I'm assuming at this point that maybe all 6 members of the council have actually read what the proposed resolution says. And basically what it's doing is it's asking for the town to voice opposition to some kind of legislation that has neither been proposed or adopted by anybody. And to vouch for the fact that it'll be disobeyed if it's something that the proponents don't like. I'm an officer of the court, I'm a sworn officer of the law. I can't advise the town or anybody else to disobey lawfully constituted acts of the General Assembly. But moreover, if in fact something is adopted that you don't like, then it seems to me like that would be the time to adopt a resolution that's addressed at the specific thing that you're disapproving, instead of just saying, well, whatever it is that somebody may adopt later on, we want to oppose it now, and you don't even know what you're saying that you're opposed to. There's nothing
I think it's
in
pretty
writing
clear,
that,
you know.
that you're actually addressing this to. I'm not saying that you can't support something like this, but I think that it's premature to adopt a resolution before there's actually something that the General Assembly does that you're saying that you disagree with.
I think we're,
They haven't been sworn in, they haven't voted on anything.
I think it's more, I mean, I might be wrong, I mean, I think it's kind of a statement too.
Yeah.
You know, we're saying, hey,
From my point of view, I mean, if you want to take it up at the January meeting or the February meeting, when you actually know what it is that you're looking at, but it's just a matter of opinion whether there's something that you're actually opposed to. You know, it's just left up to who knows who, when you read that, to say, well, you know, we're opposed to something that infringes on the Second Amendment. Well, who decides that? Who decides whether something that you haven't seen proposed or adopted yet infringes on the Second Amendment? I mean, it's just, I don't like to be stampeded into doing things before we actually have some cooler heads here that say, well, let's see what it is that somebody actually does first, and then you know whether it's okay with
I like to
you or
play
not.
offense better than defense. That's why I think we need to go ahead and mirror the county and,
I
you know,
understand.
and you got Brian Hyatt, Democrat, Chris Plaster, Republican, Charlie Stacy, Democrat, Tom Lester, Republican, Mike Himes, Democrat, Maggie Asbury, Democrat, and you got Travis Hackworth, Republican. All supported this. Early bird gets the worm. You know, I want them to know in Richmond that Tazewell County's in one mind and one accord. And, you know, I mean, if we wait around to see what they pass and then we say something, I just feel like, you know, if we go ahead now and get this done, they'll see where our stance is on the Second Amendment. You make a valid point, Jim. You know, I can't hardly argue with your point. I see what you're saying. But
He actually makes a good point.
he does. And
I, myself, I'd like to see it tabled till the next meeting, because I was just talking with Joe here, I don't really understand everything that's going on about it from the county. I'd like to get a better, I'd like, just like he says, I'd like to wait and see what the county does.
County's
the
already.
county
I
passed.
know the county's already passed it, but still, that, to me, I think we just need to table it
I
and
mean,
discuss
you
it.
know when they come knock on your door, take your guns, that's how
I'm
fast.
not worried about them knocking on my door. I'm a gun collector, I'm a Democrat, also everybody knows that.
I'm proud of it. I mean, I'm just saying,
I'm
they're not gonna give us,
I'm
hey,
not
we're gonna
Democrat,
warn you, they're
Republican
gonna get you
here.
stuff, just like that.
I'm not worried about anybody coming and knocking on my door and taking my guns.
They're tougher
They said
than-
when Obama got elected, he's gonna come and take all your guns. He was in for 8 years. Did they come and take your
I
guns
sold
away
all
from
mine,
you?
I don't know, they never come to my house.
I mean, I think you might be
We can
rushing.
adopt the one resolution anyway.
That's right.
But I mean, that's the discussion, I've already had a motion, I've had seconds, now we'll vote. See how everybody, if you wanna vote, if you don't pass it, then we'll table it. So it's on, I've got right now, you're moving it, I got a second, we've had discussion. What you got?
Wait a second.
Hold on just a minute.
Now, you gotta do this the right way. Are you moving to table this?
No, it's
There's
moving
already
to
motion
table.
on the table.
I
I
understand.
can't skip one to go to
There's a
another.
motion and there's a second on the resolution. Then he's making a motion to table it, which I understand, but there's a second to that.
I've already got a
It's gotta be
second on the
voted on.
table, I have to vote first, right?
No, you vote on whether or not it's going to be tabled first.
Well, that wasn't what the question, he made a motion to mirror
I
what Tyler
understand.
County, then I had a
And there was a
second.
second.
And then you wanted me to stop before we
And
voted
then-
and have a
And
discussion.
then
So they
Mr. Herron-
discussed, and now we're gonna vote.
And then Mr. Herron made a motion to table that. If there's a second to that, then that has to be voted on first before you decide.
Well, then we've already had a second on his.
Yeah, we had a second, we
You
had
told me
that.
that 3 times. I'm saying, the motion to table takes precedence over the other motions. You have
But
to
if you
vote
want
on.
to stop me, it would pass the first time, I'll say.
No, I can't stop you.
Anyway, go ahead. We
When
had-
Jerry
what do
makes
you
the
want to
motion,
do?
if there's no second to it, then you go ahead.
Does
and-
Jerry have a second?
What do you want to do?
Well,
And he made a
I would just
motion.
like to
You
get
want to
rid
make a
of
motion
it.
to table it?
Well, I'm not trying to be a troublemaker. I'm not playing politics here.
That's what we're in.
But he made a good point, Mr. Carney did.
Okay. So you made a motion?
Well, I haven't made the motion yet.
Okay.
I just
Well, if
suggested
he's not
that
gonna
we
make a
table.
motion, then we're gonna move on.
Is there a motion or not?
No, I'm not gonna make a motion.
Okay.
I'll
Now you
go
can
along
go
with what,
Okay, thank you. Now I've had first, second,
We're voting on,
we are voting to
Make
mirror
an
what
amendment.
Caswell County did on the
Second amendment
second amendment sanctuary.
It's the one resolution, John. It's Tazewell County passed 2 resolutions, but we can only mirror one.
I vote to do it.
I got a yays or nays, I wanna go ahead and poll it too. Roll call vote, yes?
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Appreciate you.
Okay. Scheduled speakers.
We're not scheduled, but we can go.
Well, I mean, I know y'all have a long travel ahead, I'm trying to kind of get y'all in, so y'all come on up. Crossroads Engineering, introduce yourself to everybody.
Okay, it's been a while since we've been here. We're still alive and still doing some stuff for the town from the water and sewer system. Anyway, I'm Kevin Sutherland with Crossroads Engineering and Darren Music back there with me. I'll be quick. We got a few projects still going on for the town. We got a couple phases of the water system improvements. Phase 1, there's been a lot of different pieces of stuff, and it's been meters throughout the town, things like that. One thing still remaining is a connection from Shannon Heights down. I know we've had an easement issue, and I know Mr. Acker's been working on that, and I'm sure you're familiar with that. I don't know where that stands. I know that's, last time we talked, we still hadn't been able to get that easement signed, so have you?
Did you ever get to call him back, Jim? Jim spoke to, was it Lee? He's talking about the easement issue with, stands. Did we ever, I never did get a hold of Lee. You were supposed to call him back after he reviewed it, remember?
Oh,
We spoke about that on Shannon Heights.
he hasn't got, no, I sent him,
You sent him,
yeah, I sent him the
but you spoke to him personally. See, I've never been able to talk to Lee Osborne, and, Jim actually got to,
actually spoke to him on phone.
yeah.
And Mr. Osborne is an attorney. And he said that he wanted to see the actual proposed language of the easement,
Okay.
which I sent to him. And I asked him to contact me back after he'd had a chance to discuss it with the co-owner. And that's the last time I talked to him.
Okay. I think we were looking at maybe alternate route. If you
We
can't
looked-
get that, there's one, maybe some property right to the side that we
There
might be
there
able
is
to.
some property, we were sort of waiting to see, I will reach out to Dave tomorrow, and Jim, maybe if you could give Lee a call, or
Yeah,
call his office tomorrow, I'll definitely let you know something
Okay.
this week. Worst case scenario, we can go to the alternate
Okay.
route, I believe.
I think what'll happen once we be able to get that section in, we'll be able to close that portion of the project out.
Right,
And the health department wants to try to get those things wrapped up. They funded phase 1 and phase 2. The phase 2 is complete. That was line that was done out Schrader on Alex Avenue.
Yeah.
So that's been done for some time. Once we do that, I think they'll be receptive to another funding application for phase 3, which will be to go ahead and finish up the metering project, replace the remaining meters and radios that haven't been done up to this point. So That's sometime in the spring, so hopefully in the next month or two, we can get that knocked out.
Okay.
What we'll do, once we get that done, we'll come back and talk to the council about submitting an application for phase 3. I think they're probably sometime first part of April, this one they'll be due, but we got some time to deal with that, so. And also, I spoke with Rick today. I know there were some issues with the billing, and Jennifer might want to chime in here too. Issues with the billing software and that sort of thing, but Core and Main was down today, who are the suppliers for the meters and radios. I think that they said there was an issue that had happened between CityPac and FMS whenever the transition was going
On the pull over on that. Yeah.
And I believe now, they said they hadn't got enough data previously, so now everything seemed to work. They were out there and they would do some testing today, so I think that might be resolved. I guess time will tell on that, but according to Rick today, he said that things looked a lot better than what they had been in the past, so. That's really all I got on the projects, if you guys got any questions.
I'll reach out to Dave tomorrow, and Jim can reach out to Lee, and we'll get you an answer.
Is there any reason you would need to talk to Lee? Because I've spoken to him.
Not really. If they need some information, we'll be glad to talk.
Okay.
And I'd actually drafted up, it's been probably several months back, but we actually had some drawings that showed the right-of-way lines that we were looking at.
Does he have
Yeah, we
that?
just need to.
I sent it.
Sorry, I didn't know if that was
Did we send it to Dave or Lee?
I sent it to Lee.
Okay.
Yeah, but if they have any questions on how construction will be done and cleanup and restoration of things, we'll be glad to talk to them.
Hopefully he'll be coming in is what I'm hoping for.
Okay. And it's a small section of line. It's not that much when you look at it.
Yeah.
It's just the.
And it's at the edge of his property.
It is, and
It's perfect, really.
it's really property that probably wouldn't be utilized for anything else, and it's, still they would still retain that property. It's just that we would request they didn't build something on top of the line would be the only drawback from that, but other than that, it's hopefully won't impact anything they would want to do in the future on it.
Do I have any questions, Crossroads, or anything?
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
that's it.
Y'all in the big blue truck tonight?
No,
Have you told your wife yet you bought
not
it?
yet, you know.
Any other scheduled speakers? Okay, next, public comment? Come on up.
Jim Altizer, 205 Old Kentucky Turnpike. Here are a couple rumors around town.
Can you give them just a second?
Well, sure.
I'm gonna help them out real quick. No, I don't want to. You get Tom.
Comment.
Thanks, Tom. We love you guys. Thank y'all for everything. Hey, thank y'all for everything you all All right, you want to come on up? I just want to make sure everybody can hear you.
Take on the truck.
I've just been hearing a couple rumors around town, and I'm going to give this town the opportunity to either confirm or deny these rumors, so that they may either put them to rest or look into them, whichever they wish to do. First is the paving of Indian Springs. I hear the council did not approve any contract to do this paving. I further hear that to fulfill a campaign promise, Mr. Herron went into a unilateral agreement with Gateway Paving to do this project and then demanded that the town pay for it. If Mr. Carmody drew up or approved a contract that was voted on by this council and signed by the town manager, I've got no problem with it. We need to squash that rumor tonight. However, if this was a unilateral agreement made by Mr. Herron and Gateway Paving without this council's approval, it's not a binding agreement between the citizens of Cedar Bluff. It is a binding agreement between Mr. Herron and Gateway Paving. The taxpayers of Cedar Bluff would have no responsibility to pay for this paving. It would be Mr. Herron's responsibility. I want to mention that Gateway Paving did my driveway. The owner is a fine, honest man, but he happens to be Mr. Herron's nephew. A councilman has no authority to single-handedly award contracts, especially to a family member. Secondly, I hear Mr. Herron, Mr. Stevenson, and Shepherd met at the town hall to discuss collection of delinquent debts owed to the town. in particular, delinquent debts owed by Mr. Stevenson. I also hear that Mr. Stevenson was threatened with having his water turned off if he did not turn over his paycheck and Christmas bonus in payment towards these debts. If this meeting did not happen, let's squash that one also tonight. However, if this meeting did happen, there's several problems here. If Mr. Stevenson owed a water debt, his water should have been simply turned off as any other citizens would have. If he owed tax debts, we have ways to deal with that. But when 3 or more councilmen come together to discuss or transact town business, that is a council meeting. The meeting would have required the notice to be given, minutes taken, and accessed by the public. FOIA makes no exception if one of those councilmen happens just to be a town employee. No individual councilman has the power or authority to demand that anyone turn over their wages for debts owed to this town. You would need to comply with the wage garnishment laws. Councilmen are not debt collectors. I don't like it that Mr. Stevenson has voted to raise what I pay on the council and may well owe this town, but we have ways to do it. We have to use the tools that have been given to us by the General Assembly. For tax debts, Mr. Lester and Mr. Absher both have implemented things like the DMV stop, the debt set-off program, and contracted for a third party to do debt collections. This is how you handle these debts. And I'm confident Mr. Absher, if only given the chance, will do those things. Now, what we need to do here is get out of Mr. Absher's way and let him do his job. The meeting rules say, Mr. Mayor, that I can't ask the council or town staff any questions, okay? But you don't fall into that category. You're neither town staff nor you're a councilman. You're the mayor of this town. So I'm going to ask a couple questions of you. I'll leave it up to you if you want to answer them or not. Was there a contract written by Mr. Carmody or approved by Mr. Carmody that was then approved by this council to do the paving on Indian Springs? Secondly, did this meeting happen between Mr. Stevenson, Shepherd, and Herron with the topic of Mr. Stevenson's debt owed to this town, and were his wages withheld from him?
That's public comment. I know, it's my meeting. What I was just gonna say is I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I would like to say, you know, when I did read you did put in a request, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing, I just asked, you know, whatever we got 5 days? So try 5 days?
Yeah.
To do the request. As far as, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm being honest with you.
That's fine. You were the only one I could ask a question of.
Yeah.
That's
What
fine.
was the second one I did?
Whether that meeting actually occurred between Mr. Harrington, Stevenson, and Shepherd. Let's see. If you don't mind, I know I'm probably running over here. I'm sorry. Did this meeting actually happen between Mr. Stevenson, Mr. Shepherd, and Herron with the topic of Mr. Stevenson's debts owed to this town, and were his wages withheld from him?
I wasn't there for it. I didn't sign any checks. I was told, you know, by Terry. That's how I was told. I mean, that's what I know. I mean, when Mr. Herron got on and me and him and Tom went over here to sign checks, he said, you know, I was ex-mayor, you know, let's bury the hatchet. He's gonna sign checks, he's gonna help me. Basically, he said, you know, he's retired, gives him something to do, and that's great. He had some knowledge. John was new. But I'll be honest with you, I sign checks when Jennifer, you know, maybe Jerry goes out of town, or if I drop my kids off here at 8 o'clock every morning. That's what I do. I'm available, but that's just kind of an agreement we had. I didn't sign any checks. I was just told what Kenny told me. They took his bonuses.
Yeah, I appreciate your answers. It seems to be that any knowledge that you might have of it is only from Mr. Shepherd and Mr. Stevens.
No, I haven't talked to, did I say Kenny? I'm
You said
sorry.
Kenny. You said Kenny.
I'm sorry, I have not spoken to Kenny. I have not. The
Okay.
only one I'd spoke to was Terry.
Okay.
I had spoke to Mr. Herring, I had spoke to Mr. Absher. I don't know if
Yeah, I mean, I like Tim. Tim's always been professional with me, and he raised some valid concerns, but it was complicated. I know when I took over for Mr. Lester, and it's in the proposed budget, the fiscal year 1920 proposed budget. Indian Springs Road is in that budget. And it specifically states in the when that budget was approved that the amount was $24,000 to pave that road. It's in the 1920 budget.
It's 36,000.
No.
32,000.
Well, in the budget, when it gives its challenges and all, the budget amount, and I can actually read it to you here because I did some digging today. I'm afraid this question would come up, but this is the 2019-20 Cedar Bluff proposed budget. But it says challenges with the budget this year. It says, okay, there's 6 challenges of that year, but on challenge number 5, it says road plan, Indian Springs, $24,000. And then if you go back through the budget, as I did, and it's page 7, I believe, and this is the only copy I have. I mean, I don't care to let you look at it through the meeting. You reach back up here to me.
Mr. Lester gave me one
Okay.
several months ago.
Okay, well, this is the only copy I have. But anyways, it's on page 7. Road Improvement Fund is $32,000. Roads asphalt is $600. And roads gravel's $2,000. Now, I get that it's under the requested column. It doesn't say it's approved. It's not in the approved column, but right here you can see it here where it says, Tim, it says $32,000. You can see that, where it says that. It's in the requested column. Of course, there's nothing over, but of course none of them says that. Some of them have, you know what I'm saying?
Well, the budget was approved.
Okay.
I have no concerns that the money was appropriated.
Right.
My concern is, was there a contract?
Yeah.
And if we're, I don't.
This is,
I mean, I find that if not, I have concerns with that.
I got this for you as well, Tim.
Okay.
I went, this is when, this is
That's the receipt.
that is February 15th. That's when, of course, that has laid on my desk. That was on my desk when I came here, and of course that was, but of course,
So this is the bid.
that's the bid. That's the bid. That's the bid.
That's okay to me.
Okay, but, you know, and here's of course the receipt where we paid it. There's the receipt where we
Okay,
paid it.
I guess I gotta keep going back to the same question though.
You know,
I mean, I would like to see a roll call.
I don't.
Was there a contract? Did you vote for a contract? I'm not asking you because I can't ask you questions, so
Right.
I'll stop right there.
Right.
But did this council vote to accept this bid? I mean, the money's appropriate.
Right.
I have the budget, I get your point. But there's a difference between money that has been appropriated in the budget and this council actually getting a bid and saying, okay, do we want to accept this bid?
Right.
And then you saying, Johnny, and you vote.
Right.
And that's my question. Was there a council vote on a contract? The VPPA, Virginia Public Procurement Act, most of it doesn't apply to small towns like this. There are sections that have to be wrote into every contract. I think Mr. Carmody would tell you, there's discriminatory sections, your contractors can't work
Here's the
illegal
thing,
aliens.
we don't have to go through all that. You're just wanting to know, did the council vote?
I'm
Did they know?
trying to get
You don't
there.
have to, I just want.
And I'm gonna be honest
The
with you. I'm
pregnancy
just
go
gonna,
to the delivery.
and I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't lie. One thing, we didn't vote.
So there is no contract.
There was no official council vote. It was just, it was just, the way I took it, of the bid being there on my desk, it being in the budget, it was a gentleman's agreement. That's a bad way to put it, and God knows the press is here, I'm just saying, but that's just but I'm just saying as far as like having, but I didn't talk to Jim McLaughlin today, but I had a council member call Jim McLaughlin, and Jim said that he had sent bids out and Gateway Paving was the only one to respond. No one else responded with a bid. So they was the only contractor to bid on the asphalt job.
For the 29th, for this most recent budget passed in July?
On this one right here, maybe that was the,
That would have been
yeah.
a year and a half.
Yeah, you're right. But anyways, they put it out for bid then. I mean, I think they put it out for bid then, but Tom refused to get it paved just because he foreseen maybe money running tight or something, and that's the reason it laid on the desk. I mean, Tom was a money miser. He didn't waste no money. So I'm just saying, that's the reason, I mean, all in all, Tom didn't, I mean, he really didn't. So it laid on my desk. It was on my desk when I was interim all the way up. And, but no,
So there is no contract.
Mr. Altizer,
Yes.
I'm the latest guy on this council, and I knew it was going to be paid. I didn't know that, I don't know what you're talking about, but that contract was done prior to me getting on it, to my knowledge, and I think that we talked about doing it. I mean, I heard about it, I knew about it.
well,
So apparently you've been talking.
Mr. Altizer,
I have
what
no
he's
doubt
talking,
that was discussion.
what he's asking, he's not really asking for contract. He's asking the council's approval. Did we take a vote on it? You know, that's what he's asking. I mean,
Right.
and-
And the money, now, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, I have no problem if I'm wrong.
and I don't
There's
care
a-
to have
there's
this
a-
open.
Money can be appropriated in the budget, but the council, it has to vote to release it, right?
You're correct.
I mean, I called Mr. McLaughlin because I want to make sure too, you know, because I went through this and he just said where it had nothing in the 3 blanks, it means it wasn't approved. And I know we talked about it. We discussed, because Terry said, Terry, we're going to patch it and pave it next year. But the only reason is because VDOT had threw out some stuff mentioning orphan roads.
Mr. Mayor,
And I'm talking, and we was gonna talk about taking these orphan roads, and hopefully VDOT help us out on some stuff. But, I mean, that was all in the mix. Here's the thing, we add a lot of stuff in the budget, right, Tom, that, how much of it, we do it all? Not all the time. I mean, it's just the budget's gonna be changed, but, I mean, yeah, we discussed it the day it was paid, I think it was paid. I really did.
Last I heard, I had a conversation, I believe, with, maybe with Mr. Lester, or no, I think he made a comment, Tom, at the council meeting, that we were in discussion with the town of Richland to hopefully work our projects together to get a lower bid. You remember that comment? Okay, and that was the last I heard of it. And so I'm sort of like you, Mr. Mayor. Marilyn's mom, we've been spending a lot of time with her for Brokey, I won't go into all of that, and then you won't be glad I don't. But, so I can drive by there and it's paved. But the last discussion publicly that I heard was Mr. Lester's comment that we were working, and you know, I'm thinking, hey, that's a really good idea. Maybe we can get a lower bid if we do that. Next thing I know, it's paid.
Well, I actually thought it was a good idea, because I seen 32,000, and I seen 24, I thought, you know, we've done some good stuff, but anyway, we've got your request. These guys will turn it in, and I appreciate it.
Right, if there is no contract.
Mr. Shepherd, do you have a question?
yes, I make a motion to ratify all previous action, approve, accept the bid, and pay for the job.
Do what? Hey,
Ratify all the other actions, prior actions, approve and accept the bid, and pay for make payment for the job.
I thought we already paid.
We didn't. He's just ready to.
He makes the motion to backtrack and do it the way you're supposed to have done it before you got it paid.
Right.
That's what he's doing.
Okay, we're in
That's fine. That's fine. But to go, please don't do it again. That's all I ask.
Thank you.
I'll not twist any more arms and get things done around here like you accused me of doing.
I'd like to reply.
Go ahead. If he's gonna talk, I'm gonna let him respond. It's the same way.
Because, no,
I got respect.
I stay within the meeting rules. He's not just supposed to speak during public comment.
I know you did.
You gotta get a second.
You do these things, Mr. Herron, according to the law.
Listen, I don't wanna hear no more out of you, okay? I'm through listening to you. You know what
Then
you
stick
want
your
to have
fingers
to
in your ear because the mayor has gave you the floor.
Well, don't come in here anymore accusing me of doing something I didn't do.
So that meeting did not happen. We're getting somewhere now.
Well, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not saying anything else. You just go ahead and
Thank
have a
you.
seat.
I have no problem. I think that if Mr. Stevenson knows, Mr. Stevenson needs to pay, just like any other citizen, that you do it by the
You
law.
had your time.
Right.
You're good.
I
Sit
agree.
down.
I appreciate it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very
Sit
much.
down.
Have a good day.
He's got a motion, do I have a second? That's what I'm looking for. Do I have a second to back up and do this?
I'll second.
Okay. Any more discussions or anything? So I think y'all talked about this, is this?
We are agreeing that we didn't have a contract on it. We didn't vote on it before.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I think we got a request is what that's for.
We are voting now to pay for it.
We've already paid for it, this is just gonna ratify.
Accept the bid, which the minutes don't show that the bid was ever actually accepted by the council.
I vote that we should have voted for it before we done it. Now that we've done it, I want to recognize that we made a mistake, and I'll vote that we want to pay it, or we have paid it, and move forward.
Any more public comments? Anybody else?
No, I don't.
York, got anything?
I do not speak that.
Tell me.
I'll let you know.
All right.
We need to, moving forward, we need to, we need the council members to reach out to the community and see who wants to serve on the new IDA that we just formed. We need one council member from this board to serve on the IDA, and probably, at least 5 citizens from the town. So, so y'all can appoint one tonight, or you all can talk about it. We can do that next month for the IDA. I put it in your agenda packets, or Miss Jennifer put it in your agenda packets. Just moving forward, just so we're all on the same page. It's just hard when the county's closed and we're open, or if we're closed and they're open. I would like to mirror the county's holidays, which they mirror the state holidays of being off, and just town of Tazewell does, town of Bluefield does. It just keeps us in accordance with the other townships in Tazewell County. It's in your agenda packet. If we could just do that.
Will this make any difference in the total number?
No, right here it is. It tells, I got it here.
That's the only question I had.
No, just, actually, I would probably, would you say, Jim, need to get a vote on that to mirror the county's holidays, or the Virginia state holidays? You think we need to get a vote on that? I'm sure we do, don't we?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Virginia holiday, or state holiday mirror, he's gonna do a county policy mirror. I have a motion for that.
You're fine.
Huh?
What day did they use?
John, you have the days?
Yeah.
It's in your.
It's
I got
actually
you.
a calendar in your packet.
I thought maybe he didn't have one of those.
I didn't.
You don't? Okay.
I didn't look.
It's back towards the end, Kenny.
You say it's the same thing that the state of Virginia has.
Yes.
Yes.
No different, and we're already doing that anyway.
No, ours is a little bit different, but like I said, sometimes we're open and the PSA or Tazewell County's closed, and then sometimes we're closed and they're open. So this puts us all on the same schedule.
I called Town of Tazewell, I called Tazewell County, I called PSA, and they all mirror this. They sent me this down and said they
Yeah.
mirror this.
Yeah.
I didn't leave yours out, did I, Kenny?
I'll give him time to look at it.
We got 14 paid holidays. Is that what I'm understanding?
That's correct, John.
It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks and a half is how you break that up on 5 days a week.
Did anyone make a motion on that?
Not yet.
Okay, let me know.
I'd make a motion that we follow the Virginia State Holidays agenda for time, for days off.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Second. If there's not any more discussion, Johnny?
I'll vote aye.
Aye.
Tori and I, we met with the folks from the Rally Grant. They're gonna actually come down and show us how to put it into place. Her mom has been sick. She was actually gonna come to the meeting tonight. And, but anyways, everything's going good. The other grant that we was working on, we won't find out about it until January 30th. Jim Baldwin, I got a letter from him, from the Cumberland Plateau Board, and, it's been delayed until, January 30th before they release the funds, or, you know, on the, cannot.
CPROP.
Thank you, CPROP grant.
And on the Rally Grant, we are having our first meeting January the 8th.
Yeah,
It's also in there.
that's right. And, we got a new front door on Town Hall. Did y'all see that? Super nice. December to Remember Christmas Parade, December 14th. We're hoping the weather is good. We're definitely going to continue doing the parade. I feel like the weather's going to hold off, that we can still have our vendors. That's what I'm believing. You know, it's going to be from 1 to 7. The festival is, the parade's going to start at 5, but we're going to start lining up at 4. And we're going to line up at the old mill. We did a contest through the school. Our school resource officer, TJ, helped us with this, and we let a student from Cedar Bluff Elementary do the best quote. We're going to make him the grand marshal of the parade. Rosalind Breeding, and you spell her name Rozalynn. Rosalind Breeding, and her quote was "There's no place like home for the holidays." So she is the grand marshal of the December to Remember Christmas Parade. Begins at 5 at the old mill, and I was thinking there's something else, but
John, we do have an angel tree out front. We have two angels left that needs to be adopted for Christmas, and we are also taking new board games for any of the children in the area too.
so what's the angel tree? Me and my wife, we've adopted 3. I know Mike Brown's adopted a bunch.
I think
Everybody's
we ended
adopted.
up with what, 27 altogether, Mike? 26, 27?
I believe it's 27 names.
Yeah.
And all of them's been adopted
Chris
except
Morgan
2.
come in the other day and adopted 2 off the
How
tree.
many more you got left?
We got 2 left.
Well, we'll take. Yeah, we'll take.
And the 2 that we have left are siblings, right?
Yes, they're brother and sister.
Yeah,
Awesome.
brother and sister. So.
Yeah, we'll take. For me and Karen, well, not the town. Yeah, I get it.
Makes you 5.
No, that's all I have.
Is that all you have, John?
Yeah.
Town reports, police department.
Okay, for the police, total calls responded to 48 in November. 5 total accidents worked, 12 arrests were made. Traffic stops were 28. Traffic summons issued were 16, and total checkpoint, traffic checkpoints, they didn't have any this past month, and drove 3,525 miles. Some town tickets issued, none. Assist other jurisdictions, and That's basically what that report is, other than the fact that they have for special functions for November, participated in the second annual Veterans Day ceremony in Richlands. On November, that was November the 7th, November the 19th, they held out Police Explorer program, open house at the town hall with a great response to this program. And one other thing that happened on November the 21st, they held out held out last neighborhood watch meeting for 2019. We'll update the council at the next council meeting of the date for the next one in January. They always do a good job. Thank you.
If I may,
Yes, sir.
December the 21st, I've got to put on a report, we're doing our Shop for Cop program at Walmart.
21st of December.
21st of December.
What time will it be?
Probably between 7:30 and 8. Walmart's going to provide breakfast and Santa and a couple of elves.
Oh, that's
We'll
nice.
be there to do the shop.
I got the fire department that, 3 monthly meetings, they were all for Thanksgiving, 3 calls during the month. And finished installing the tank and the utility truck. Total hours of meeting training, 52. Total hours on call, 15.
There was no water report, Jim.
Council concerns?
I'd like to take a moment to thank Walmart for all their support. Bob Walk, the floor manager up there, Lowe's, all the other businesses that supported the town during the past years, and all the citizens that supported the town during the past year.
Any more council concerns? No. No mayor concerns? I mean, oh, I'm sorry.
Is the Shop with the Cop program, is that in conjunction with the Richlands? Do you all
No.
combine, or do you have a separate one for Cedar Bluff?
It's separate. The schools are off from the school on it.
So where do you get your funding for that?
Your funding is applied from a grant and donation. But we receive a grant from Walmart.
I didn't know if it was in combination with the Richlands. Well, I helped with that in the Richlands, and I knew anything about it.
So I figured it out? Okay.
Council concern,
Cattle County Board of Supervisors, thank you.
Yeah.
And Kenny's right, and I forgot that in my town manager's report, but, Tom Lester, Travis Hackworth gave us $1,200 each, and then Charlie Stacy, Mike Himes, and Maggie Asbury gave us $400 apiece for a total of $3,600 to help us do a remodel over here for the police department over here in the community room. So I'd like to give him a hand clap now. He did. I mean, it was great. And we're going to actually have a ribbon cutting for him because, you got to think, Travis Hackworth, this is not his district. This is not Mike, Maggie, or Charlie's district. And they poured in and helped us financially, and we will remember that.
Great. Oh,
council concern, I thought we voted for it, I'm not sure, to open this gate over here so these children that's taking karate.
It's been open.
It's been open.
Can't open it.
We also voted in a light to the other side of the bridge some time ago. Is it still?
we looked at it tonight, it's burned out, wasn't it? Was it burned out? Just, you remember the one I pointed out when we come through?
Is that the light on the other side of the bridge?
Yes.
Did we get it installed?
No, I'm talking about the one going down Edgewater Drive, it was out tonight.
Yeah.
It's pretty dark coming through there.
Yeah.
It was out. We'll get that.
Did we get that installed, or is that a different light?
I think the same light we've always had. We didn't get one in that curve, did we?
No.
I don't think so, no.
Is this still on the agenda, or?
I think we had put that on the back burner.
That's right.
We approved the money.
Did we?
Yeah, and we might have postponed it for
We did.
to do something else with the money for a little while. Pick that up within a month, but we never did do nothing on it.
We tabled that, but we never did discuss it anymore.
Now, Johnny, I'm lost.
Right on the other side of the bridge, or in that dark spot, before you go down the Edgewater Drive.
That was from James Brown.
James Brown wanted that done, and we approved it.
Okay. This is the first I've heard about it.
I'll get with you, and then if we want to talk about it next meeting, be fine.
Okay.
Are we talking about anything on incorporating anything that way now? Where we stand on that?
Well, we still haven't, we gotta get up with our engineering department on doing some, mapping for us. And then we're gonna have our next phase will be a public hearing or a meeting with the Tasman County Board of Supervisors. But, we haven't even, we're not there yet.
Okay, I drove by out here where they're having the karate, the gate was locked with me like.
It's been unlocked the last 2 weeks, because I seen it go back tonight.
Did anybody unlock that?
See, what they've been doing is just hanging the lock in there and telling them to take it down, so.
Okay, I'll check in on that. That's all the concerns I got.
I didn't have any concerns. Next is closed section, closed session. It's, A is section 2.2-3711-A1, personnel matter, maintenance, sanitation, and office staff. B is section 2.2-3711-847, legal litigation, River Road, land acquisition, and Indian Springs Road. Number C is section 2.21-3711-829, legal contracts, Overlook Park. That's what we got. Closed session. Have a motion? Second? All in favor? Aye.
Mr. Mayor, may I get a picture with the council so we can send it in to the state for the second count, for the Second Amendment sanctuary town? So they can add you to the list.
I didn't know what it was before, I've been eating.
They're yours.
Oh, right up here with Tom up here. I didn't know if I down here in the front.
Hey Jennifer, will you take a picture? Will you take a picture and I'll send it in to the Second Amendment sanctuary folks? Warren might want one.
This is the real, but that was a copy.
I tell you what, you can text me this one.
Okay.
I'll forward you one with that one too.
Now, right here's the check number we'll pay right here for you. I mean, there's somebody who copied that.
Been 2 months.
We went through it. I wasn't finished. I would. But I'll be there to sit down with you. I want to be your partner. I want to get a picture to see it for the Second Amendment folks.
Hey, wait, we gotta get a picture.
Can I get a picture of the Second Amendment folks?
Tom's in the middle, Tom Lee's in the middle. Come over here. You gotta see.
You know, I get a phone call from the NRA and everybody else.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no, they love her militia.
Yeah, Chief Brown, you chime in here.
Yeah.
Come on, Chief. You gotta give that speech I told you about. He gets mad at me when I tell him he's gonna speak.
Put this behind that.
Yeah.
Hey, John, slide this over out the.
Put behind it.
I'm trying to figure out. You got it right there? Yeah. I don't need that.
Yeah, you do. Eric Young did it. You'll be the ones out
Okay,
there.
let me start.
We'll come to your house first, John.
I'm gonna give Ken.
Everybody take us a couple.
Do the 1, 2, 3
You want to
cheese.
move that or?
Do the 1, 2, 3 cheese.
John, what about you? Yeah, I think we need to have. We had the whole sheriff's office.
They might have to go behind.
Danny, come here and get. They gotta stand behind that beam there, they gotta be.
Yeah, because if not, it's gonna be too wide.
Between us.
Neil? By Neil?
Do the Trump thumbs.
Some of us still have.
Years worth of information is quickly
Y'all ready?
Yes.
can, so we can start carrying the ball.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, gentlemen.
Thanks.
If you need something, let me know.
Is it a lot of fruit, Jim?